want to thank everybody for making the time in their schedule to attend this call. Welcome to the April 2024 ICA meeting. I think many of our dignitaries are either en route to Evanston or maybe already there. There's some things going on, but I would like to welcome Jose, our RMO, who has joined us, my predecessor, Chris Jones. Thank you. Sitting governors, all else. Don't know that anybody from 34 has made it, but that's okay. We're going to proceed without them. Just real quickly, you're always welcome to go back and view the recordings, of course. So I'm not going to tell you everything that you missed, but I would like to give you just a little bit of a recap without a lot of detail. And that's pretty simple compared to where we were last month. We had essentially completed our discussion about creating a new template that is now being made available to you. If you didn't see it, you're welcome to go back, and I can, of course, send it to you any other time you'd like. It was attached to your meeting reminder email that you got on Thursday. And I think that you will find that not only does it lend to accountability, which is something that Jeremy wants us to have, and progressing through the colors, if you will, of the report from blue to yellow to green, but it also helps each of us as district ICAs track our efforts, build our teams. And it makes it easy to share your progress with your peers, the people that are on this call when asked, during our monthly calls. So if you haven't had a chance to look at it, I will do my best to throw it up on the screen now, and we'll just talk through it very briefly. But I think you will find this looks a little different than the most recent previous iteration. You will notice, first of all, it's got a little color. And that's not because I'm colorful, despite my image being pink on today's Zoom. That's blue, yellow, and green, which absolutely is intended to coincide with the three colors of the monthly report. The blue being the goal, the yellow being in progress, and the green being the completion, if you will. The goal has been reached. And without making it too onerous, we did break it down into the different steps. Talked about the deliverables as far as what it is you hope to accomplish within that step. And once you've reached that, it's time to move on to the next one. We also, without turning it into the index and the search menu that we find so helpful with the Zones website. If you've ever used that search engine, it's unbelievable. And all the tools that it provides, we did throw a few on here that can be used to help you with that step. You'll see up at the top, for instance, with the action stage, number one, it recommends using Grow Rotary. Clearly, if the deliverable for that is identifying the need, Grow Rotary is a great way to do that. You find that dark hole on that map, and you know exactly where there needs to be a club. And if you're in the new club business, what better place to start than a black hole, right? So once that's completed, then you've got your need identified. It goes in the blue square. Now you have the goal that coincides with that report. And as you'll see, as you move down those steps, it allows you to get all the way to the bottom ultimately, so that the green square represents your new entity that's been created. Now, I want to throw something else into that yellow square. You'll remember in previous months' conversations that there's been some concern about diluting the products, or maybe learning the steps and helping others be more familiar with the steps in order to be able to facilitate their way through those. There was some concern that we don't want to get away from there being a general structure. So you'll see at the top, the idea is structure in the process, but innovation in the product. That yellow square might be the first time you can determine through your efforts what kind of entity you are creating, whether it be something that's cause-based, whether it's something that's corporate, whether it's of common interest. Maybe it's passport. Maybe it's I'm waiting for this one till last, obviously. Maybe it's an impact/companion club, in which case we have in our zones a very blessed team who focuses on not much other than impact. So to find your way through the remaining steps beyond that, if impact goes in that yellow box, maybe it's that team or those folks with Patrick Longano and some of Katie Tosi that need to be included in the equation to move forward from that second step to the third one. Does that make sense to everybody? I don't see anyone falling over. That look right? Anybody have any initial thoughts or observations that you'd like to share before we move on? Otherwise, look, I want to give this to you. It's designed to be a positive thing. It's not meant to be a burden. I think you'll find more than one way to use it and more than one way to keep track of your thoughts, and also keep your team motivated and focused so that we do get to that important part. And that is obviously the part where you move from blue to green. Makes sense? Cool. Not seeing anybody's hand up. Let's move on a little bit. So now that we've talked about what this tool is, it only makes sense to discuss how we're going to approach it. You know, who else in district do we need to involve? Chris Jones, I'll give credit where it's due, had brought up an idea since our last call that perhaps we need to consider holding district information sessions, if you will, about starting new clubs, where the folks that are on this call that are tasked primarily with the ICA efforts and development have an opportunity to help get their message out more broadly within the district. And obviously, if you already have a plan in place that allows you to do that, great. But a lot of districts don't. We've heard from some of you who haven't built that out yet. So Chris's idea was perhaps we create these district information sessions, if you will, about how to start those new clubs so that we can not only deepen the bench, but get the word out as well and find out where that can take us. Do anybody have any thoughts on the call? Sounds like a good idea, bad idea, something that we're already doing? I see some hands. Don't know which that is. Rich, I saw your hand up in the air first. I think that was your hand.
Yep, beam me up, Scotty.
Did you have a thought about that?
No, I think we need to do it.
Yeah.
So it's
I
no
saw
fun.
your hand go up as well.
It's no fun being the best kept secret in the district.
That's right. That's right. Pam, did you have something you wanted to share? Or you just tallying?
Yeah, no, I'm not beaming up. We've had a lot of information sessions. I've presented at a lot of district meetings. I've had private meetings with people. I've had phone calls and chats with AGs and district governors. And I have become, over the last 2 years of doing this, a subscriber to the great man or great woman theory of history, which is that things only happen if and a club only gets started if there's some great leader who steps forth and says, I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to spend all of my time for the next 6 months or a year or whatever doing it. And so our idea of holding meetings and having existing club members or existing club leaders step forward and say, yeah, let's add to what we're already doing. That has just not happened in our district. And you know, I'm willing to take credit for not being a good leader on that, but that's been my experience anyway. On the other hand, when someone says, I want to do this thing, man, it happens just like that. So somebody's got her hand up.
Let me respond to that just with maybe like a question 1A, if I could, Pam. If you think there were something like that in existence where all someone would have to do would be tune in and watch and participate, would it be more likely you think that the audience would grow in your district as a result of that, or no?
We've had such sessions many times.
Okay.
So that's my answers.
Got it. Got it. Mark, I see your hand up next, please.
Yes. Last night we only had a couple of districts webinars. We're starting to do it on a monthly basis, but last night I did one on innovative clubs. I put together a PowerPoint last week and it went pretty well. It's about 15 minutes long, 20 slides. But it went well last night. I was going to send it to you this morning just for your edification, and doggone it, it didn't happen. So I'll send it to you after the meeting today. But it's just one approach. I know that I've spoke with our area governors and trying to help inform our area governors what it's all about. And hopefully they can help me identify the clubs where we might be able to get a shoe in on starting a satellite club.
Excellent. Excellent. AG's the most underutilized cadre we have at district leadership, I think. Andy Young, your hand is up next, ma'am, please.
So thank you, Sean. So yeah, we went and set a meeting with we have membership advocates for each of our areas. So we've got 9 of them identified. We set up a call with the membership chair and for the advocates to talk to them about the whole ICA concept and how to go about looking in your in your area of what's missing, what we can do. It was very sad. It was myself, the district membership chair, and one of the area advocates. So I'm loving this idea of doing something more broad on a district-wide level. And I think that's the approach we'll take next. The next step we'll take is just broadcast it out. Whoever can come. And hopefully we find a few enthusiasts. Because the membership advocate, she was very enthused and walked away with a couple of ideas. So hopefully that brings some fruit to us. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Andy. Anybody else? Nico, I see your hand.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's hard for me to stay quiet. So it's my understanding that every district has a membership chair. It's required. They should have it, as well as subcommittees for engagement, attraction, and all that. So ICA is supposed to be in collaboration with and to really add value to the membership and obviously advocate for innovative club. I think sometimes there's a disconnect that everybody's off doing their own thing, not realizing that we're supposed to collaborate together. So whether it's an innovative club or satellite or standalone, so really utilizing all that. I know that like for 7680, Mike Walker is the membership chair and he's engaging. He's got his subcommittees. He's got advocates going out to the different areas. So that's the membership. ICA is in conjunction with, not in competition with. So really, I know the membership chairs are on a call either right before this or right after this, going over the same thing. So all the information that they have, it's just reaching out and collaborating with the ICAs on, everybody working together. I don't think it's the ICA's role to go in and tell the district what to do, because the membership chairs for the district should be there for 3 years. And if they're not doing a good job, they get replaced. That's just my thought.
No, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. I philosophically agree with you that there is a sub chair, if you will, of folks that just focus on the new club development. So it's beyond me to know how those two things, just general district membershiping and new club building, are going on within a certain geographic territory at the same time, and those two identities not communicating with each other. But time and time again on this call, we've heard of districts that are having that problem, and hence the reason for the question. Is there not a way that we can create to help centralize that communication and also de-silo the issues, because they absolutely go hand in hand? I think you're right. Patrick Longano, sir, I see your hand up, please.
Yeah, I mean, it belongs to the district, because each district is autonomous when it comes to stuff like this. They're going to decide if they're going to support the MAP ambassador. They're going to decide if they're going to support the ICA. But until you address there's a lot of districts out there that still run old school politics, and the district membership chair is going to be the person that has done it forever and they're never going to change and that sort of stuff. But what I would do is I'd lay out some best practices for them, but unfortunately, as I say this, another group has popped up and said, well, we want a piece of the district membership stuff. So what you have to do, I mean, we've got MAP ambassadors, ICAs, district membership chairs. We're going to have, my goodness gracious, we got like 5 people, 4 or 5 different groups on membership trying to get a piece of each club in the district. And it's, I warned about this 6 months ago, 7 months ago, that I fear backlash. You know what I mean? Especially when somebody goes in and says, this is what we're doing. And then the district membership chair goes, oh, no, wait a second, we're doing this. And then the ICA goes, oh, this is the best way to do it. So unless you go ahead and come up with some best practices there and say, and do it for them. You got 3 people or 4 people in your district. They're all talking about membership. Here's the way that you can present a menu of all the things that are available to them, and then present it to the clubs. And then the club can go, this is what interests us. And then that person that represents that group can go in and help. But if they're all in there vying and elbowing and trying to get their point across, you're going to have trouble. And you will, unless we address it headstrong right now. Once the backlash will be so quick and so furious, you'll never be able to get it back. So instead of cutting consolidation, I would serve a menu of all and you can craft it. Everybody on here can craft the menu right now for their district that says innovative clubs, and this is what we do. Map, this is what we do. And here's what we do. Which do you think would interest your club? And some of them are going to go that, and that's fine. Let them go ahead and tell you what interests, and then they've invited you in, and then you've changed the tone there. You're not trying to get their attention. You've already got it, and they said, "I want you and you," and then go with it. But I would to foster that. We can do WhatsApp groups and this and that all we want, but you serve a menu up to each club and just say, this is what's available for you for help in your district. You can, look at all of these options that you have for help. Which do you think your club would prefer this year? And then that person's got to be the one that goes in there and gets it done.
I think you will find, and if I noticed that we had finished that part of our conversation before you came on the call.
Oh,
that new club tracker has got that built into the middle of it, that once you arrive at what kind of entity is it we're going to build, then what team is it that's going to take and run with that. And I would absolutely encourage you to go back and at least listen to that first 5 or 10 minutes or so of tonight. And if you're not able to do that, man, you give me a call and I will lay that on you. And I think you will be very excited about how we've tried to combat that, at least from an ICA perspective.
Yeah, can I show you something real quick?
Yeah, of course.
This is like what a menu looks like, but not. Host is disabled. Participant screen sharing. You tell me when I'm good, Sean.
You're good.
All right, let me do it one more time. This is something I use a menu in everything that I do, because I don't want people to think that I'm trying to sell them something or whatever. It puts the person that you're presenting the menu in control, no matter what situation you are in life. So this is, if nobody's ever seen what a menu would look like, this is what a menu looks like. Tell me when you can see it. You see this?
It's up.
Yep. So you've got this, and let me go ahead and explain this, and then you have any questions on that? Okay, then this. Do you have any questions on that? Do you have any questions? And you just go straight through and you hand it to them and say, which would you prefer? It is just a nice and easy way for people to get all the information that they want to get. You present 100% of your solutions to them, and then they get to make a decision without any kind of slant that might be coming in. So nobody will ever be able to question what well, did they really pitch that, or did they really do that? It's there and it's done.
Right on.
Thank you.
I appreciate you sharing that. Eric, I think I saw your hand up. Did I not?
Yes, and I realize I'm probably a low person on the totem pole with this group, but as I was listening to the last conversations, I kind of think back to when I used to work for a living. And at the end of the day, if we've got all these different leaders at the district level, one for membership, one for innovation, and so forth, if I understood correctly, and if things aren't going well, who's responsible for taking the action to adjust course? It would run, obviously it would go to the district governor, But that sounds like you're asking the CEO to make sure that all the VPs and whatnots are doing their thing. I think about first thing that popped in my head was 9/11. Had we all these intelligence agencies, nobody was responsible for anything. They didn't communicate. At the end of the day, we had a major failure. Who's responsible? So that's the only thing that I kind of throw out there. As a district governor, I wouldn't want to put myself in the position where I'm trying to micromanage several people to say, hey, you guys need to mesh together. I want to go to one person and say these subgroups, innovation or whatever, district membership chair, you're responsible for utilizing those tools that Patrick showed and anything else we've got to go out and drive the result we're trying to get in the district. My 2 cents.
Hey, Eric, I actually think about the meme that everybody's probably seen, the Spider-Man meme, where all the Spider-Mans are pointing at each other. Anytime I hear something like this, that accountability is that you're talking about is very, very important to have.
Absolutely.
One that the district governor can go to, or somebody at the zone can go to and say, we've given you the tools to do your job. Your job is to make sure that those tools are there, and I'm only coming to you for results.
Yeah, and Patrick, I think you're right. I mean, let's provide the tools, maybe put them in different tool boxes with certain subgroups, if you will, or sub leaders. But then ultimately, there's got to be one individual that says, "I own this thing, and I'll utilize these various toolboxes or technical abilities. Hey, the plumber needs to go to work. Now I need a mechanical person. I need an electrician." And they go out and do their thing to make sure the house comes together.
Right.
Thank you for listening.
I can tell you one thing that's going to come out of Sean's mouth at Pittsburgh is delegate, delegate, delegate to you, Eric. You're not going to want to be a micromanager at all as in your position. We need to be macro. We need to delegate. So. No,
I fully understand. That's what I don't want to get into. I don't want to have multiple people saying, well, it wasn't my fault. It was that person's fault. I need to be able to have that one source that I can go to and say, what are we going to do to help move this where it needs to go?
And Eric and Sean, where that comes in on like menu, when the tools, if you do something like a menu or something other, I'm not saying to do that exactly, but something like that, when you present that, you know that you've offered 100% of the stuff to the 100% of the people 100% of the time, and that if that club breaks down, you have done your job. You have presented it, they've accepted it, you've trained, that sort of thing. You've got the backing that you've done what you're supposed to do on that deal. So you run them out of excuses and give them the tools to do your job, and you're set.
That's a great segue, Patrick. Speaking of tools, we've got somebody with us, somebody in mind anyway. We all have our great ideas, but if you're not aware, there's a fellowship of PDGs. And not only does it meet at international conventions, but it also has regular Zoom meetings, during which time there are guest presenters. This past meeting's guest was our very own international president-elect, Stephanie Yurchin. Now, as you would expect, she talked about the action plan, one of her favorite topics to share. But on this occasion, she really boiled it down. And if you read the email that I sent to you on Thursday, it mentioned that while the action plan is often discussed philosophically at the zone and the district levels, a huge part of its intrinsic value is in helping a club evaluate itself. And to relate that to membership growth, she emphasized 3 things that have to happen all at the same time. So we're going to talk about those things for the remainder of our time. And we've got someone to show us what that looks like when it's all put together. The 3 things that she mentioned were retaining members in our existing club. We're obviously getting them moved to a new club if that's what's required so that they maintain their membership. Attracting members to our existing clubs by making the experience irresistible, if you haven't heard that word yet before. And the 3rd thing was starting new clubs, which of course in and of itself requires attracting new members. And perhaps also getting our current members excited about joining or starting that new experience so that we can then attract those new members that we need. For purposes of tonight's discussion and sharing, District 7710 recently had huge success in focusing on those exact three things. So I have invited not only our current district's 7710's ICA and Pam Blizzard, but past district governor, who was Pam's predecessor as an ICA, Marie Howard. So Marie, I think you've got a success story you'd like to share with us. Can I turn the mic to you?
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate the opportunity because this is honestly the best club experience I've had in my dozen years in Rotary. I am just so excited about the way things are happening. I'm going to try to share my screen here. And I think you should be able to see my slides. Is that true? Great. Okay. So we just started a cause-based e-club. It's called the Rotary E-Club of Raleigh International. And it has a different format than any other club I'm aware of. And we have a motto. It's called Connect, Travel, and Serve. And that helps our new members be able to explain what the club is all about. We connect, as in any Rotary club, make new friends and business connections. But this club is cause-based, and we're focusing on service in Jamaica. So we travel to Jamaica every year, we will, and to learn about new cultures and to serve and to make a difference. And so that's our basic motto and focus. And this is our cause. We have selected Lister Mayor Gilby High School for the Deaf in Jamaica. It's the only high school for the deaf in the country. It was established in 1966. And we have met with the school now for probably 4 times in person as well as on the phone. And we have identified projects that will keep us busy for many years, probably about 5 years or so. And so that will allow us to increase the depth of the cause and the relationships that we develop along the way. We were starting this club, my husband and I have been Rotarians for several years, and we had a relatively new Rotarian that joined us in this endeavor. Before we got started, we sat down and were very specific about who we wanted to attract. We were looking specifically for mid-career to retired individuals. These people have money and time, and therefore they have the ability to travel to the Caribbean. We're asking our members to be actively engaged, and we actually have a checklist for them to fill out. It's essentially a pledge saying this is what we expect our members to do, and that has worked. And as we speak, we have members from 4 different countries, the US, of course, Jamaica, France, and West Africa, Cameroon, and also from 4 states within the US, New York, Indiana, Florida, and North Carolina. We grew very quickly. We started last May, June, just thinking through the process. And then we began attracting members, holding informational meetings with the satellite forming in August. Then we continued to grow pretty slowly until we traveled to Jamaica at the end of January, early February. So at that point, all the new members had experienced the service, had seen the school, had met the kids, had met Rotarians in Jamaica. Then we said, let's just get it together and become chartered. So I think it's 2 weeks ago, it's been a kind of a whirlwind. We had 14 members when we met on Saturday. By the following Monday, we had 26. And we grew that quickly through several things. First, we found our members, of course, best in most thing in Rotary is through personal connections and a personal ask. So that was the foundation of most of our members. But we also attracted members through LinkedIn. And I worked a list of previous Rotarians, and we have, I think it's 3 people that used to be in Rotary that we invited back to this club. Also, this dramatic membership growth at the very end happened because we had a try before you buy. So we waived our membership dues except for the new member fee, which covered most of our costs. And That allowed the new members to try before they were actually expected to pony up the dues. And it allowed us then to attract people who had been kind of in the periphery. They would attend a meeting, but they just hadn't made the commitment yet. So that took them over the top. We have a very diverse membership, both in age as well as other aspects. We're about 60% female, 60% people of color. More than that are foreign born, and even more than that for people that may have been born in the US but have worked overseas. So we're really very diverse in our perspectives on life. And I think that that brings us great strength. We're also effective, remembering that we've only been in existence for 7 months. We've had service projects that have totaled over $15,000. And then when you add in the travel expenses that members, allocated to go to Jamaica, we estimate that our members have in total contributed about $46,000 to this effort. Our first service project, and this was identified by the school as their #1 priority, was providing computer equipment to help the kids become bilingual. Sign language is their first language, English is their second. So that's going to help with language development and vocational development. These kids also have an issue with hygiene supplies of all sorts, shampoo, deodorant, you name it. So we have a monthly fundraiser to help support purchase of hygiene supplies. We also provided supplies for an entrepreneurship class that helps with vocational development. While we were in Jamaica, we had a reception and a lunch to honor our Rotary partners in the school. And then separate from Jamaica, we have contributed to 2 other projects. One is a local Rotarian needed a service dog, so we contributed to the training of that pup. And then our member from Cameroon actually started a primary school to help with internally displaced people due to the civil war there. And we contributed to teachers' salaries. So we've done all of this in just 7 months. We also are having intentional fellowship and learning. It's through fellowship that we are actually able to be effective. We have social time each meeting. Members are scheduled to do their IM presentations. We have about 1 a month for those. We also include programs about the culture in Jamaica as a whole, and also specifically the deaf culture. And we make sure that we focus on our why every meeting. We became chartered officially on March 25th. We chose that date because it represents by the United Nations an observation date of International Day of Remembrance of the Victims of Slavery and the Transatlantic Slave Trade. Obviously, the Caribbean is dealing with the results of that slave trade. We are also unapologetically expensive. Our membership dues with no meals are $150 a quarter, and 100 of that goes towards projects. Plus, we have that new member fee I mentioned. On top of that, we have asked our members, and the initial members have all agreed, to pay $10 a month that goes to our hygiene project. Our actual donation is about $20 per person per month. So we estimate that it costs around $3,000 to be a member of this club. Everybody that went with us to Jamaica in January, February have said that they're going to do it again. So it was a success. And we recognize that we're not for everybody, and that's all right. We're dreaming big. This coming Rotary year, we're putting in a district grant for a project that'll be over $20,000. And that we're, again, projects prioritized by the school. And then for the following year, there's a really big ask. They would like us to help them build a building for counseling for the children who have significant psychosocial needs. That project, if we can pull it together, is over $200,000. Lots of things are keeping me up at night, not the least of which is retention. Onboarding our new board members. When we chartered, we added 2 new board members. We want to continue to grow our membership by +4 by the end of the next Rotary year. Of course, we need to educate our new members about Rotary and the foundation and develop future club leaders. We also need to strengthen our connections with the people in Jamaica, both in Rotary and the school. And we have established a 501c3. We've established the corporation, but we are waiting for the IRS to approve our nonprofit status. So a lot's going on in the last 7 months. And so that's it. Thank you.
Way more expensive. I'm so happy about paying your quarterback.
Marie, that was fantastic. Thank
Thank you,
you so
Sean.
much for sharing all that. This group knows exactly where I'm going to go next, but if I could, I'd like to ask you a question of my own. Only because I've been governor like you have, and we know what pushback feels like. I recognize that one of your slides used the word unapologetically. Did you or have you since gotten any pushback from your district or others in the district, or maybe other parts of the district? Because not every demographic is going to support a club that is framed up the way yours is. Have you experienced that? And is that part of why you use that word in your slide, or are the two notions not related whatsoever?
I've not received pushback because we're too new. People didn't know until like yesterday what we were doing. So no one has had a chance to digest it. But we were very intentional, right? With wanting to get or to attract members that were willing to invest in the club and our projects. And so that was just one of our bottom lines. You know, there's a million different ways and different flavors of Rotary. If we're not for you, great, let's help you find a different club. So we're happy with the way we started, and it has not been, in spite of that promotion that grew our membership so dramatically in the last few days, in spite of that, the new members are on board with the due structure. And we do actually have a reduced due structure. It's $100 a quarter. And we ask in return for that reduced due structure to help with fundraising. So we do have some flexibility, but we are not still an inexpensive club.
So that's how you avoid the critics. Just be covert in your planning. Is that what I heard?
That's precisely it. Don't tell people what you're doing.
Excellent. Don't tell anybody. Anybody else have questions for Marie specifically about what she shared with us? I see a few attaboys in the chat. Anybody have a Pam? You're a plant, Pam. You're from the same district. You can't ask her a
I'm a
question.
plant. I'm a big Marie fan. Marie, let me ask you the question to what I was talking about earlier in my great man or great woman theory. How much of all of that did you do? I know your husband partners with you a lot. At what point did you start to get a broader network of folks helping you make all this happen?
24/7. No, it really truly, it was the three of us, the three founding members, my husband and myself, and Peter Smith, who lives in Florida. We really sat down and said, what do we want? And we all bring different strengths to the table, right? I had been in an ICA. I kind of knew how to start a club, so that I could do the administrative stuff. I also had the network within the district to both fundraise and to find other members. So, being a past district governor helped a lot. David has been in Rotary longer than me and is very well versed, and he serves as our first president and is doing great there. Peter has really strong connections with Jamaica and the Jamaican diaspora. So he was the person bringing in the people from all over the US and France who have connections with Jamaica. So it has been a team effort, but it has been intense. But now we started with just three of us on the board. When we became a satellite, we became a 5-member board of directors. And now that we've chartered days ago, we have 7 members on the board. So we're working on integrating these people and being able to, not do everything ourselves, and to bring these people up into their leadership capacities as well as their Rotary understanding. So I think we have a plan for being able to offload some of the continued growth of the club.
Great question and great answer.
Yep.
I mentioned just when you finished, Marie, that everybody knew where I was going to come from out of the gate after you finished. So here it comes to everybody else that's on the call. What kind of ideas does this give any of you as far as how you can follow the lead of doing something similar to what Marie has described? anything jump off the page at you as she's going through her presentation?
I think the big thing, Sean, is you got to get somebody that's passionate like Marie to take the lead, take the charge, and go with it. Whether it's an impact club, whatever you're doing, you need somebody to be the quarterback. Really to reach out that has the passion for it. That is the key, I think.
Let me
Marie, awesome
expand.
job again.
Thank you, Nico, I'm sorry. I would like to expand on that because this is the third club I've started and been a member of, right? I've started other clubs, but this is the third time I've started a new club and been a member of the club. And this experience has been very different. And I think the things that we think are driving that is the fact that it's cause-based, and your cause doesn't have to be some, little island in the Caribbean. It can be, some specific thing in your hometown that the club wraps their concept around. So cause-based for us has really helped to attract members and to explain what we're about. And also, honestly, to be very clear about our demographic has helped us. So, it's in previous clubs that I've started, it was like we were just going for anybody. Well, we ended up with a lot of fresh faces that weren't strong leaders and didn't know anything about Rotary. Here we've got a lot of people that don't know too much about Rotary, but they're strong leaders. And we have got just some incredible people with a broad base of professional backgrounds. So that has helped us as well. So, but point taken, you need to have somebody that leads the charge.
Right on. Rich, see your hand up, sir, please.
They found a cause, the only school for the deaf in an entire country. And that's amazing. And on top of it, the location that they're supporting is an exotic location, someplace people really, really, really would love to travel. I mean, out here in Goochland, we're trying to trying to get rid of the cow tipping activity, in Goochland, but that do not compare with helping the deaf students in Jamaica. So what an attraction. That's eye opener. That's outside the box.
Right. Fantastic. Anybody else have any comment? Otherwise, let's all again thank Marie for putting that together. She did that as a favor to all of us. I appreciate it, Marie. Thanks for sharing that. And if you all hadn't noticed, while she was presenting, we had a few other people join us, one of which, of course, is Joe Roth from Zone 34's ICA cadre. Joe, welcome to our call. And also our director-elect, Patrick Eakes, happened to be able to join us. He has given me his disclaimer for why he's late. He has been forgiven by the ACA gods, and I would ask Patrick to contribute to today's call any way you see fit, sir.
Thank you for your grace, Sean. I can tell you that when you're driving, you're trying to get back to the office to join this call, and you see a train stop and the conductor get out and go across the street to get a soda at a gas station, you're not going to make it on time. It was just one of those hair on fire moments. Obviously, I missed part of this call, but I got to see all of Marie's presentation. What went through my mind is we talk about cause-based clubs, and we know of some clubs that have been maybe more general in nature. About scouting comes to mind, peace, some clubs like this. This is a really specific, targeted cause, and it has clearly not only drawn a lot of people who maybe didn't know about Rotary before, but they are already fully in gear. I mean, the output of this club pre-formation would outstrip most Rotary clubs that have been around 30 years. And that, I think, should inform all of us. We ought to be thinking about where are passions that people can rally around and that our organization would make a difference for in terms of the leadership that we bring, in terms of the structure we have, the potential funding that we have. That's the value piece that Rotary can bring to people who have a like mind about a cause, as well as like values that we all hold dear. So I'm just blown away at what Marie and David and Peter have done. It's simply incredible, and I think it's a it's a lesson for all of us. So I hope you all were taking notes and paying attention.
Patrick, thank you for that. With that said, in the spirit of being timely, anybody else have anything they would like to discuss, get off their chest, share with the group? I will share with the group that this past week, I not only celebrated a birthday, but contracted pneumonia for the very first time in my life. 2 days later, I am one full course of antibiotics through and feeling great, but God bless you. The people that have had that before, I feel for you, and those that haven't, man, stay away from it. It's been an interesting time this week. So, Rich, you have your hand up, please, sir.
Yeah, our district has only opened up one innovative club in 3 years, and that club is down to one member. We have one club right now in District 7600 who's forming 2 satellite clubs. One is going to be a happy hour club. They're calling the Thirsty Thursdays. They've already been meeting. They just now going to go through forming it. And they're also creating a senior assisted living, a satellite club at a senior assisted living center. So their goal is to have 2 up and running in the next probably 2 to 4 months. My hat's off to them. They're going for it.
Great. So glad to hear that. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share?
Don, I'm going to talk again.
Yeah, please do, Pam. Go ahead.
I caught pneumonia once a few years ago, flew to Philadelphia for a meeting, and happened to be talking to my 85-year-old mother, and I caught hell for that. So I think you should go back to bed and not.
Yeah. It's not that I felt bad. I mean, I just didn't know what I was feeling because obviously I'd never had it before. Just totally bizarre. I have no idea how I got it. Not a clue. No, I don't want it again. And I think it's gone. So I appreciate your thought there. Thank you. Anybody else? With that said, I've got one thing I'd like to share with everyone before we go. And that is a few little calendar reminders that I would hope you all keep in mind. If you want, take a snapshot of that, go back and watch the call, or maybe you were already aware of all these independently. But the next monthly district membership chair call is 2 weeks from yesterday, Monday, April the 15th at 5 o'clock. Map for the month of April has actually been rearranged so that it coincides on the same day. And as you can see there, the title for this month's map is Finish Strong. And as our RC in Zone 33, Terry Weaver, has added to that, Start Stronger. The monthly spreadsheet numbers for April are actually due on a Saturday, so don't let that weekend sneak up on you. Try to make us all look better and get those information, those data input, so I can share that with Jeremy. The next Zoomformation call is at 1 o'clock on the first Monday in May, the 6th. And our next version of this call will be on Tuesday, May the 7th at 5 p.m. With that said, today is, in the United States, National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day. I give you that well wish. I thank you all for your time. I appreciate your cooperation and everything you're doing. Hope to see you all soon for Zone 33. Glen Allen is in less than 2 weeks. I'll see you all there. Take care. If you need anything, please reach out.
Sean, before you disconnect, if I could have Patrick Eakes and Patrick Longano for a couple minutes, that would be great.
Sure. Absolutely.
And if you want to pass the baton over to me to be the host, you're welcome to stay. You're welcome to go.